Topping headlines, Premier addressed nation on crime. A look at the Road Traffic Bill 2021 and National Trust promoting environmental awareness.
Hello Turks and Caicos, welcome to News Watch. I'm Latoya Walker, your anchor for Monday's newscast. Let's get right into it.
The TCI hospital reported on Friday that they are operating at an increased capacity at both hospitals, with the Providenciales branch surpassing 100%. However, the hospital assures there is no need to worry. Take a look.
Chief Executive Officer of the TCI Hospital, Dr. Denise Braithwaite-Tennant, provided a comparable analysis of the hospital's patient activity for August 2021. In August this year, the hospital recorded increased patient activity compared to the same period last year, due largely to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The emergency department recorded 1,620 patient visits in August 2021 compared to 1,669 patient visits last year. This reflects an increase of 52%. The outpatient department recorded 4,229 patient visits in August this year, compared to 2,953 patient visits in August 2020. This reflects an increase of 43%. The inpatient unit recorded 170 patient admissions in August 2021, compared to 162 admissions in August 2020. This reflects an increase of 5%.
As it pertains to our current capacity within the hospitals, we remain very busy across both centers for these past 2 weeks. Our Provo facility today is at 105% capacity, which means that 21 beds are occupied and 0 beds remaining of our contractual beds for Provo. However, we do have our 6 expansion beds in our outpatient unit that are available for any expansion, the beds in our day room, and you do remember we have the field hospital 20-bed in Providenciales. For Grand Turk, we are at 80% capacity, which means 8 of our 10 contractual beds are occupied, 2 beds are available, and we also have the 2 additional expansion beds that are available. And we share resources, so therefore the 20-bed hospital in terms of capacity is a national capacity.
However, this increase is not as a result of COVID-19. Dr. Braithwaite-Tennant explains.
We have seen a reduction in the number of hospitalizations, which we contribute to probably a decline in the active cases overall, but also the impact of the vaccine. We currently have 1 patient who is stable. That patient is in their 50s. It's a male patient. That patient is fully vaccinated. It was detected upon screening, and the symptoms are not directly related to COVID, and that patient is stable. We currently have 2 patients that we've admitted overnight that are suspected. They are stable, pending their PCR results, and are being isolated. We have seen activity through our emergency department of persons with acute upper respiratory type symptoms, and we have done home isolation and screening, and the majority of those persons have tested negative on PCR, suggesting that this is related to the seasonal viral that we will see around this time. For our oxygen consumption, it is high for our Providenciales facility, but this is not related to COVID-19 impacts, but related to the increased admissions that we are seeing related to chronic non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and the associated complications. However, we have ample supplies to meet the current need, as well as the duplex system available across both centers of the oxygen generator.
Meanwhile, according to the CEO, all hospital services have resumed routine operations, except for surgical services, which remains on emergency mode. She says staffing has largely impacted the delay in resumption for this specific service, and the required clinicians have now been recruited and are currently undergoing orientation. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
We'll take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more News Watch.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
The House of Assembly passed the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2021 during its most recent sitting in the nation's capital. Here are some of the changes that have been made to the law.
The amendment to the Road Traffic Ordinance comes by way of a ban on the importation of motor vehicles older than 10 years, as well as used and retreaded tires. That ban came into effect last Friday, October 15th.
The policy was sparked by our collective commitment to the overall safety of our drivers and the reduction of statistics on serious road vehicle collisions within the TCI. A key feature of this policy is also the reduction in emissions from aged vehicles and hydrocarbons in the atmosphere, not to mention the spike in the number of derelict vehicles throughout this beautiful by nature Turks and Caicos Islands. Mr. Speaker, the national vehicle policy is pivotal to the environment, the environmental protection, consumer safety, and waste management objectives of this government. These measures also support the climate change initiatives, which seeks to reduce waste and emissions by limiting the improper disposal of derelict and abandoned vehicles and discarded tires. As well, Mr. Speaker, as limiting the use of less environmentally responsible manufactured vehicles here in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
The amendments to the ordinance give power to the Director of the Department of Motor Vehicles to issue vehicle importers permits in line with the new vehicle policy.
It agreed that individual personnel use vehicles is restricted to 2 per household at any one time, and that a fee of $50 to be applied as an application fee for permits included in this amendment. Mr. Speaker, my government recognized the significant changes within the sector. As a consequence of the supply and demand chain, out of this, no time is wasted in addressing the gaps, highlighting opportunities for growth, and ensuring that we have enabled local legislation for the proper governance and enforcement.
The prohibition of old vehicles and used tires form part of the government's efforts to reduce waste and emissions by limiting the improper disposal of derelict and abandoned vehicles and discarded tires. This climate-forward policy will also limit the use of less environmentally responsible manufactured vehicles in the Turks and Caicos Islands. For PTV News Watch, I'm Delana Isles.
Following the seventh murder recorded for the territory, the premier addressed the country on the issue of crime. Take a look.
So my message to you this afternoon is not an easy one to hear, because there is no off-the-shelf solution to the troubling challenges we face. With all the unknowns and uncertainties, we need to remind ourselves that we cannot change the past, but we can and we should change how we perceive it and how we look to the future. Given the totality of the dynamics, the problem is enormous, and all 40,000 plus of us will have to work together to overcome it. We are our brother's keeper, and when we have information that will lead to the solution of crime, we must make sure it ends up in the right hands. But together we will get through this difficult period as we stand in place the appropriate nerve center and networking framework to improve the overall security of our beautiful country. And so, my fellow Turks and Caicos Islanders and residents of this beautiful country, I am asking you to take care of each other, and I'm counting on you to do so. This is not a time for polarizing opinions, quick fixes, false promises, or overly simplistic answers.
Premier Mizik stated that the problem is not going to be solved by a command and control style. The solution requires dialogue and collaboration to find novel solutions and not be driven by fear, as he announced additional manpower to the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force.
We must not become a garrison community, and we must not flinch in the face of laggards and cowards by having them dictate how we should live our lives. And so your government has been proactive. We've made huge investment in security infrastructure, some of which you've heard about in the past. Expansion to the police force strength from around 320 to north of 350. Yesterday, the 15th of October, the commissioner saw in 5 detectives from the United Kingdom, with another 10 detectives to be sworn in over the next 60 days. And in addition, the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force is recruiting 18 local officers. We are serious about fighting crime.
Premier Mizik also pointed out that crime and national security is top priority for his government.
A very proactive National Security Council nerve center and network across government has been established. Crime and national security, I want you to have no doubt, are at the forefront of my government's agenda. Indeed, when the shooting took place, I, along with my colleagues, were meeting to discuss critical national security matters. This was in a specially convened National Security Council meeting. We are very proactive about dealing with this issue. The traditional way of crime fighting, Turks and Caicos Islands government is pivoting toward a technologically enhanced approach to dealing with these incidents of violent crimes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, to demonstrate our seriousness in dealing with the matter, we intend to make Turks and Caicos one of the safest destinations in the world by leveraging our financial strength to do so. It is important, though, that we work together. It is important, as I said earlier, that we be our brother's keeper. No one of us, not the Premier, not the Governor, not the Commissioner of Police, none of us on our own can create a safe environment. We will do so together.
A quick break, more News Watch when we return.
This is a reminder that all PTV service accounts are due on the first day of each month. Accounts should be brought up to date by the 28th of the month to avoid disruption in service. Payments may be made on our office at Stubbs Diamond Plaza, Providenciales, Mides Plaza, North Caicos, and Airport Road in South Caicos. Payments may also be made online using Scotiabank, CIBC First Caribbean Bank, and Royal Bank of Canada. Please allow 3 business days for online payments to be processed. We thank you for your cooperation.
Scattered thunderstorms across the Turks and Caicos Islands. Here's your weather forecast for Tuesday, October 19th. Starting in the nation's capital, Grand Turk, on Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies, high 84, low 80, winds east-northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. South Caicos on Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms, high 83, low 80, winds east-northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. North and Middle Caicos on Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms, high 84, low 79, winds east-northeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Parrot and Pine Key on Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms, high 84, low 79, winds east-northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. And on Providenciales on Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms, high 84, low 79, winds east-northeast at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Time now for your sunrise and sunset. Sunrise at 6:47 a.m., sunset at 6:22 p.m. And for your high tides and low tides, high tides 7:33 a.m., 7:51 p.m. Your low tides 1:19 a.m., 1:49 p.m. Time now for your hurricane outlook. For the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea, and the Gulf of Mexico, tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 5 days. And that's it for your weather forecast and hurricane outlook. We'll be right back with more News Watch.
Here at People's Television, we're more than just your leading news and entertainment services. We are
spreading the gospel.
We are breaking barriers.
We are preserving the culture. Each one, teach one.
We are committed to excellence.
We're creating change.
We are creating memories.
We are the future.
I am PTV.
I am PTV. I am PTV.
I am PTV.
We are PTV.
We are continuing the legacy. We are PTV.
The National Trust is raising awareness about some of the issues affecting our environment. Find out how you can help to make a difference in this next story.
The Kazu arena tree is known for its delicate needle-like twigs and distinctive cones. Contrary to popular belief, the tree is not native to the TCI, but is in fact originally from India, the Pacific Islands, northeastern Australia, and throughout Southeast Asia. While seemingly harmless, the tree has been affecting TCI's ecosystem.
The negative effects that the casuarina tree has on our endemic rock iguanas on Half Moon Bay is that these trees' leaves, also called the needle, when they drop them, they cause this thick blanket which prevents our native vegetations from growing, which causes our rock iguanas to not have enough vegetations for them to eat, knowing that these species mainly eat berries and leaves on the keys.
Aravna Luksama of the TCI National Trust informed us of how residents of the TCI can make a difference.
It's important for our residents to get involved because this doesn't only affect our endemic rock iguanas, it also affects visitors who are trying to get on the key because this thick blanket would cause them to not be able to access the key. And we know a lot of people love visiting Half Moon Bay and Little Water Key.
She further stated that over $2 million has been spent over the course of 10 years by partners of the National Trust to protect our native rock iguanas that play an important part in the TCI's tourism industry.
So I think that our residents should get more involved in our ongoing projects to protect our endemic rock iguanas, even if it's to take down casuarina trees. Not that all the trees are bad. 1 or 2 is okay, but when we have a bunch of them on the key, this causes a problem for our endemic rock iguanas.
Aravna told us of other threats to TCI's ecosystem that are an even bigger problem for the rock iguana than the Kazu arena.
Another major issue that we have that affect our endemic rock iguanas is the green iguanas, which are their cousins. Our rock iguanas are the Cyclura carinata, which is the scientific name for them, whereas the green iguanas, their scientific name is iguana. These green iguanas pose a threat to us as people and our endemic rock iguanas because they lay up to 70 eggs every year, whereas our endemic rock iguanas only lay 2 to 11 every year.
Whereas a green iguana can lay up to 70 eggs twice a year.
Which means they outcompete our endemic rock iguanas. They can bully them out of their burrows and take over the Turks and Caicos Islands. And we know that our endemic rock iguanas are currently endangered. So we can't have that.
And it doesn't stop there. Green iguanas climb power poles and cause power outages and has cost the U.S. government in Florida up to $38,000 in power pole repairs. The underground burrows could be problematic for infrastructure, and they are a threat to locally grown vegetation and produce.
So we recommend that people call us at 344-8296 or WhatsApp us letting us know the location that you see them so that we can be able to capture these species. We also don't recommend that people do this themselves because they're able to bite you, and once they see that people are after them, they'll become shy and it causes us a bigger problem to catch them.
Reporting for PTV Newswatch, I'm Alik Harvey.
This wraps up today's edition of Newswatch. Remember, you can visit our website at www.ptvatci.com or join us every weekday at 6:30 p.m. I'm Latoya Walken. Until next time.